This episode of Getting Geeky with Game Relief is sponsored by Casual Game Revolution. Casual Game Insider is the world's premier magazine dedicated to casual board game and card games. Now in their 6th year, they are an amazing source for reviews,
trade show coverage,
and the inside scoop of your favorite publishers. Find out more at casualgamerevolution.com/magazines.
Getting Geeky with Gamer Leaf, the podcast in which one man strives to level up his geekhood and helping you do the same, one battle at a time. Now, let's get geeky with Gamer Leaf.
Welcome to Getting Geeky with Game Relief. I know it's a Monday and it's supposed to be a role-playing game. Wanted to apologize. We are still working out the rules and regulations and how to play Too Many Bones. Thought we were going to have a role-playing game that is live on Kickstarter right now coming at you, but unfortunately that didn't work out. So we went ahead and went this route. So I hope that's okay with you. This game ends shortly. So hopefully you'll enjoy it. It looks like a fun Halloween game. It is, after all, October, so Halloween is right around. Hopefully you'll enjoy this episode. Now let's go ahead and get geeky with Game Relief and his next guest. Enjoy.
It's the day of Halloween, and you are all monsters. But you don't want to get out there and scare people. You just want to sit around and collect candy. But your boss, Belinda the Witch, tells you, go out there and scare people. And you just laugh at her, so she tells you, I'll show you what's funny. Poof! You're all turned into children. And now she tells you, okay, children, it's Halloween night, and you're monsters, so get out there and scare people. The first one to come back with 13 candy buckets, I'll turn you back. For the rest of you, I don't know.
Will sound familiar to you guys? It didn't sound familiar to me either. But tonight we're lucky enough to have on the creator of a new game on Kickstarter called Scream or Die, Dennis Sawyers. Is that correct? Is that how you fall in line? Are you the creator and mastermind behind Scream or Die, or how do you fall into the story?
That's correct. I'm one of the co-designers for Scream or Die.
Cool beans. So let's rewind a little bit firsthand. How did you get into tabletop board gaming, Dennis?
Yeah, I can't even remember. I've been a tabletop board gamer my entire life. Now, how I got into tabletop board game design is our other co-founder, Anthony Tejada. A few years back, he asked me to play a game that he created. And I said, sure, why not? And, I kind of laughed it off. I didn't think it'd be any good. And I gave it a try, and I really liked it. But I told him, Anthony, man, your game's really fun, but you can't do math. And I can do math. So let's team up and get together, and that's how we started Amber Bells Games.
Cool beans. So what was that initial game that didn't have good math, I guess?
It's actually an unnamed, it's a war game, actually. We haven't released it yet. We still worked on it. It was a really big game. But once we developed it, we realized, oh man, we need to start smaller. So that's when we started working on the smaller game projects. And that's what eventually led to our first game that was published 1 year ago, and also to Scream or Die.
Cool. So you published a game a year ago. What was that one?
Heir to the Throne.
Heir to the Throne. Okay, I don't know much about that, but I think I saw a picture of it saying it's available on you guys' Facebook page. Well, what can you tell us about that game first off?
Sure. So in Heir to the Throne, it's kind of based on medieval families who are really obsessed with the bloodline, and in it, you are building a family tree, and the first one to get a great-grandson becomes heir to the throne. So the story is that there's this king, King Graham, in his kingdom, Wisteria. He doesn't have an heir. He wants to declare somebody an heir, but all the noble houses, they're all major screw-ups. So he just wants to try with some fresh blood. And in Heir to the Throne, what you're doing is as you're building your family through births and marriages, you're also trying to attack and mess up other people's family trees. So it's a really fun take that card game.
Cool beans. So how does one go from a take that card game to it looks like a dice mechanic in Scream or Die, or what's the difference between that and Scream or Die?
Well, with Scream or Die, we got the idea that dice games, they're a lot of fun, but oftentimes it's you roll dice and everybody waits. And we really wanted to create a dice game where everyone is engaged all the time. And that's kind of the idea where Scream or Die came from. So most dice games, you roll, you score, next person rolls, they score. We wanted a game where one person rolls, everybody scores, and everybody has a chance to re-roll dice. That's where the Scream mechanic comes in.
Cool beans. So where did the inspiration come for Scream or Die?
It came from a Hasbro gaming contest, actually. There was one in 2016, and we decided to make an entry for it, and we decided that, man, what theme could we go off of? So at first we thought of maybe like a steampunk theme, and then we went with the candy theme, and then it just kind of clicked. Classic movie monsters. And we just fell in love with the theme. Our artists started drawing the characters, they came out super cute, and it's kind of this weird aesthetic of like cute and spooky at the same time. And I love especially all the female monsters in our game. So probably Mina the vampire is my favorite character.
Cool beans. So if I know people can't see us right now because this is an audio podcast. So how would play sound, I guess, if we were to sit down and play, me and you?
If we were to play?
Yes, sir.
Like how would it sound?
Or how would play go down? Like how would that go? Like how would our turns look or sound, I guess?
Sure. So if I were to start first, I would pull 5 dice from the dice bag. Now, I would put those 5 dice that would be randomly without looking. So I'd put those down in front of us, and you would decide if you wanted to pay any screams for me to randomly add more dice to the bag. The reason you would want to do this is because we have 5 colors of dice, and not all dice benefit all monsters. Black dice, for example, they benefit vampires, and it's impossible for, I think, werewolves to score off of them, and it all has that mechanic. Each die only has 3 of the monster faces, and each monster has their own color die where they can get a bonus points, basically. So you would decide whether or not to add more dice. Then I would decide whether or not to add more dice. Then I would roll, and then it goes again, where you decide if you want to use screens to reroll. Then I would also get a chance to use my screens to reroll. And then at the end, we would score. I would get points for all of my symbols showing. You would get points for all your symbols showing. And as the roller, I would also get screens. And then the dice go back in the bag, and they pass to you. So I want to say it's a very simple game, but at the same time, it involves a lot of resource management and also risk with using your screens.
Cool beans. And so, do you win with the one with the most screams, or the one with the most points, or how do you score at the end of the game?
Well, the points are candy buckets, and it's the first person to 13 candy buckets wins the game.
Cool beans. Now, are there actual? I know you get. It looks like there's looking at the Kickstarter page. It looks like you get the dice. Are there little? Are they tokens, or what all do you get when you get the game?
Sure. So in the normal edition, you have player mats with really beautifully drawn art for all 8 of the monsters. 15 custom dice. I believe it's 36 Scream tokens. Those are cardboard tokens. In the normal edition, you get basic meeples. If you upgrade to the deluxe edition, there are mega meeples, which feature half-bust cutouts of the monsters with some art on them. and also a dice tower too.
Oh, cool. Yeah, it looks like that looks really cool with the deluxe edition. What's the price difference for that?
So normal edition's $25. The deluxe edition is $39.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I really like the dice. Just looking at it. And now the dice tower, is that cardboard or is that wood or?
It is. I believe it is something called gray sheet, or something like that. I'm not the We do have an artist and materials guy, so he takes care of all that stuff.
Okay, it looks pretty. Is it pretty? Have you used it before? Is it pretty high quality?
Yes. Yeah, it's pretty high quality. It also makes what I really like about dice towers is how loud they are. And this one, it's a good, satisfying sound when you drop the dice through it.
Cool beans. And it looks like you guys funded probably quite some time ago. There's only 10 days at the time of recording, so we'll probably there might be about a week or so left when we release this episode. But when I know you don't want to overpromise and underdeliver, but when should people anticipate getting their game if they go ahead and back this?
They should get it by May at the latest, by May of 2018.
Cool beans. And let's see. So you're working on stretch goals right now. What stretch goal are you guys going for right now?
So right now we're about to hit the logo bag stretch goal. So this upgrades the cloth bag to a velvet bag with our logo on it. And so once we hit that, then we're upgrading to dice. The dice upgrade would be 16 millimeters to 19 millimeters, which is a pretty huge difference, actually. I think I did the math. It's something like a 70% increase in volume. So I don't know about you, but I just feel like it's so much more satisfying to have those big dice to roll.
Cool beans. And I really love your, I don't know if I've seen something, like, probably goes along with the theme or whatnot, but I really love you guys' map of the street for the stretch goals. That's kind of cool.
I'm happy to hear that.
Cool beans. So I guess we would each pick a monster that we would be for playing, and then it sounds like if your character shows up, you get points for that.
Yes, that's correct. They all have their different symbols. The Invisible Man symbol is a top hat. The Mummy symbol is a pyramid. The Vampire symbol is a bat, and the Werewolf symbol are the claw marks.
Cool.
So yeah, you would all pick one of our 8 characters.
Cool beans. Yeah, that looks like a really cool game. And so, is it 2 to so many players, or how many people? 2 to 8 monsters. It looks like.
Yes. So so for the 2 to 4 player mode, that would be player versus player mode. Past 5 players, it turns into a team game where it's 2v2v2, or in the case of 8 players, 2v2v2v2. Or if you go 5, then it's 2v2v1. And the game is actually extremely fun with the team mode. I prefer it.
Cool. So you think team mode's better?
I do, and the reason is that there's this mechanic where you, after a player scores, you get to split your screams with your teammate. And the way you strategize that is actually really important, and I think it really adds something to the game.
Cool beans. So, during playtesting, was there ever anything that you had to scrap? Anything done with math, like you said in the last game or the first game you guys tried to make?
Oh yeah, there was so much that as we playtested it, there was a lot of things we had to add. There was a lot of things we had to scrap. I'm trying to think of some examples. Because there was quite a lot. The original edition of Scream or Die, it played very, very differently. Not all of the dice were... like right now, all the blue dice are the same. All the black dice are the same. Before, all of the dice were actually different. All 15 of the dice were different. And one of the things we realized is that would really drive up cost. So we decided to cut back on that. So that was one thing. We actually tried it with 8-sided dice at one point, but for similar reasons, we also decided to reduce it to the 6-sided dice. So
cool.
Yeah, there was quite a lot.
Cool beans. So let's talk about the part of Scream or Die that you're most proud of.
What I'm most proud of is that the game is so incredibly fun in that I see ridiculous comeback wins happen all the time. So I think the biggest comeback I've seen is a person was down 2 candy to 11 in a 4-player game, and the person with 2 candy actually came out on top. And the reason is, in this game, there's 2 aspects. One, if you have a lot of screens, you can really control the rolls a lot better, and people will always gang up on the leader. So if one person gets ahead, then it becomes really hard to score until everyone's in a position to win. And at the same time, the person behind, they get kind of ignored. So oftentimes in this game, you'll see these ridiculous comebacks happen, and when they happen, they are so satisfying. And that's what I like about the game the most. I'm really happy to have crafted that mechanic.
Cool beans. Yeah, so that sounds like a really fun game. And it sounds like you guys so if anybody's listening to this right now, go ahead and stop what you're doing. Make sure you pull off to the side of the road so you can back this. We'll make sure we leave everything in the show notes so you don't risk getting in an accident. And per se, that somebody fell asleep and they just barely were aroused right now, so they didn't hit that oncoming traffic. And it wouldn't be because of you or your game. It would be because they're tired of listening to me on the podcast. But let's say that they just barely are awake now. Why should they take a chance on Scream or Die as opposed to all the other great games they have out there on the Kickstarter?
I would say with us, if you want a game that is light, that is 15 to 20 minutes, you're going to love it. It's the most fun you're going to have in 15 to 20 minutes. That's really the message I want to get out there.
Cool. Then so filler game, 15 to 20 minutes. That's really cool.
Yeah, and it's the most fun you're going to have in 15 to 20 minutes.
Cool
beans. Even if you have a large group of people.
Cool beans. Yeah, that's really cool. And the art is, like you said, the art, it just looks really cool. Just checking out the Kickstarter page.
Which monster appeals to you the most?
Let's see here. Let me look at them really quick. So they're all pretty good.
Roll down to the bottom.
Yeah, let's see. Meet the monsters. Yeah, they're all pretty good. I like them all. Let's see here. Probably the vampires or the mummies.
The mummies? Yeah, people love Seth.
Cool.
Absolutely love him.
Cool beans. So where'd the inspiration come for the mummies or for the art?
For the art, it was classic movie monsters from the 1930s and 40s. Cool. So that's where our artist got inspired from.
Cool beans. Now, if somebody might have looking at the Kickstarter page, it looks like you might have some reviews out there or whatnot. Any notable reviewers reviewing it or anything?
Yeah. We had the Unfiltered Gamer, Michael Wright, review it. We had G Club, which I really liked. I'm not sure how well known they are, but it's a guy and his son review it. And for us, it was really important to have at least a few reviewers that were parent and child combinations because this game does really play well with families. Also, Geek Girl Project, I had a lot of really good things to say about it as well. Casual Game Revolution is as well. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that one.
Yeah, actually, to tell you the truth, Casual Game Revolution, the guy that runs that is in my local church congregation. His name's Chris, yeah.
Really? Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so we've done a little bit of work together. Yeah, so that's really cool. So they all liked it?
Yeah, everybody really liked it. Especially after we made a few changes to it. This is our second time we're launching it. And after the first one, we realized we needed to add in the 5 to 8 player mode. And I think that really helped a lot in terms of getting people to like it, because this sort of game, light game, I think it's really important that you can play with large groups of people. Like anytime you have a light game, really large groups of people are better. So
cool beans. Yeah, that's awesome. Cool. So I don't know if you've heard the podcast or not, but the next portion of our podcast is called the Adventures in Application Acquisition, where we talk about an application, be it for a cell phone, tablet, computer, or even a video game. It doesn't have to be related to board games or dice games in this matter. Is there an application that you use a lot of that we can talk about for a minute?
Such as?
Just something you use a lot of. It doesn't have to, nothing specific, just an application you use, whether it be on your phone or tablet or computer or anything.
Oh, well, you know what? I'm actually a data scientist by trade, so there's quite a lot of different applications I use routinely.
Cool. Is there one you can think of off the top of your head that you've used in the last little bit?
You know what ClickView is?
No. Can you? What is it called again?
ClickView.
ClickView. No. What can you tell us about that?
So, what ClickView is a dashboarding tool. So it is an application for desktop dashboard development. And what I really like about it is it can handle up to 2 billion rows of data. So most dashboarding tools like Tableau, they're not very good at handling more than a few million bits of data. With this sucker though, it's absolutely amazing how much data ClickView can process. That said, the learning curve is extremely steep on it. It has its own computer language that was created by engineers who really weren't working together as a team. So it's super random at times, but the tool is extremely powerful. It can lead. It can lead to very nice visualizations if you know how to use it. If you don't know how to use it, then it's just an exercise in frustration. But if you do know how to use it, it is an extremely powerful application. There's also an upgrade. Well, it's not really an upgrade. It's a companion app called ClickSense. So ClickSense is their Tableau competitor, where it's a lot of drag and drop analytics. So if you're a large company, it's fantastic to use. If you're a small company, it's also fantastic to use. I'm not sure how the licensing costs work necessarily, but I have used personal home editions of ClickView and ClickSense to make some pretty cool dashboards. With just things I'm interested in, like say sports data or not. I don't know if you follow League of Legends at all, but so I do like to make dashboards with that data on my spare time sometimes.
Cool. So somebody, I'm not very tech savvy. Usually, if I have a tech question, I either turn to my children or my wife or Google. So for somebody that's not tech savvy, how would you put it in, I guess, layman terms or simple terms? What ClickView or what are the dashboards you speak of?
Oh, sure. So a dashboard it's a collection of charts and graphs. So it's stuff like pie charts, bar charts, line charts, and what these things are good at, it lets you very easily see patterns. For example, you can make a dashboard of your weight loss when you're on a diet. If you weigh yourself every day, you just take down the number, you plug it in to some database, and the dashboard will display it as a chart. So that way you can see, is my diet actually working? And you can see it very easily. I mean, are the bars going down or are they going up? You can also do this with your finances to keep track of your bank account, your purchase behavior, anything like that. And sometimes you'll see patterns that you totally wouldn't have noticed unless you kept track of it. One interesting pattern I used to keep track of is, so I could speak Japanese fluently, and the way I was taught to do it was by essentially reading books in Japanese. So what I would do is this. You read a page, and you count the number of words you don't know, and you write that number down, then you look up the words, and you reread the page, and you just do it through the book. And at first, it is extremely slow, but what you notice is over time, the number of words you have to look up, it starts from maybe like 50 or 60, eventually it gets down to 1 or 2 by the end of the book. This is because any author, they kind of reuse the exact same language over and over and over again. So if you're plotting that data into a dashboard tool like QlikView, you can actually see your progress. And I don't know about you, but when I see my progress, I feel motivated to keep doing it. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir. Yeah, cool. So probably I use I don't necessarily have a diet or whatnot, but I keep track of my weight on MyFitnessPal, and so probably when I go in and look at the chart, they probably use something similar to that.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, cool beans. So if you owned the rights to QlikView or QlikSense, what would be one thing you would do to make the application better?
Oh, I would totally rewrite the language. That's what I would do. It's ridiculous. Yeah, I'll give you an example of the syntax, okay?
Okay.
It's so if you want to say count the weight of or let's say do like the average weight of a male, okay?
Okay.
The syntax would be AVG, so like average, parentheses, and then this is where it starts getting ridiculous. Curly bracket, open arrow, gender is equal to curly bracket, single quote, male, single quote, curly bracket, close arrow, close curly bracket, weight. And it just it is the only computer language with any syntax close to that, and you're constantly having to do this curly bracket arrow curly bracket thing. And because I use it so much, it's just my fingers have kind of gotten used to this, to having to use these buttons, which I've never had to press before in my life. And yeah, I have no idea what maniac came up with that language, but I would definitely change it. Completely scrap it.
Well, there you go. If anybody's listening that is in charge of QlikView or QlikSense, you heard what Dennis would do to fix that. Cool beans. Cool. So it looks like you're in Japan. Is that correct?
No. I'm currently in Detroit, Michigan. I used to live in Japan, and I don't think I ever changed my address on Skype.
Oh, no, it doesn't look like it. So cool. So minus coming there to Detroit or getting lost in Tokyo trying to look for you, how would people, to stalk you, how would people go about finding out about you or, let's see here, how would people go about finding out about you or Amber Palace Games?
So we do have a website, www.amberpalacegames. We have a Twitter account, Amber Palace Game, and I think the best place where we keep most of our updates is Facebook, actually, our Facebook page.
Cool.
So if you just Google Amber Palace Games, we should come to the top.
Cool. We'll make sure we go ahead and leave everything in the show notes. But yeah, we wanted to thank you for coming on, getting geeky with Game Relief. And is there anything we should look for coming out from you guys in the future, or with Scream or Die after it gets to its backers or whatnot? Will that be something that people can see in the stores as well?
Hopefully yes, we're going to work really hard to get Scream or Die in stores. So we hope that goes well. In the future, too, we should have a Kickstarter coming out in spring for the Heir to the Throne expansion.
Cool. And did you do the initial Heir to the Throne? Was that initially on Kickstarter as well?
Yes.
Cool beans. So what some of my fans had asked previously, that they'd like to know some of the different things that we're dealing with Kickstarter and whatnot. What's been the hardest part for previous Kickstarters as well as this one? What's been the hardest part for running a Kickstarter?
You know, the whole thing, I want to say we're a small publisher. We're still learning how to do it. I think the hardest thing is learning how to get exposure, because it's so, and tell the Kickstarter backers too, if you really like a campaign, you really should back it the first day it comes out. The reason is momentum is so important in Kickstarter. So for me, the hardest thing is learning how to build that momentum to have a really, really strong day one.
Cool. So I don't know, how did this one do on day one?
It got 70% funded on day one. So I was pretty happy with that. That was a lot better than the last time we tried.
Cool. So what did you do different from last time?
The big difference was we spent a lot of time building up an email list, so we went to a lot of conventions. We demoed the game in a lot of places, got people's emails, did Facebook advertising as well to get more emails. The real key, I think, to Kickstarter is having that big list.
Cool. So on the list, did you send out like an email like a couple weeks beforehand, and then when it launched, or how did you go about working your email list?
Yes, I sent out. I sent out 2 emails for it. There's one email asking people to share the link to the email sign up, and that did okay. And it also announced the day of the Kickstarter. And we also sent out an email of 1 day before, or I think the exact minute the Kickstarter launched.
Cool.
To let everybody know that now's the time.
Cool, and that had quite an impact?
It really did, and I spent a lot of time online on the Tabletop Kickstarter advice groups, and what you find is that with every campaign, your list gets bigger. So for a lot of the major companies, they're emailing 20 to 30,000 people every time their campaign starts up, and I think that's really a major component to a lot of the super viral ones that you see.
Cool. So yeah, you heard it here first on Getting Geeky with Gamer Life. If you have a Kickstarter coming up, or if you're working on a game, make sure you build your email list. That's what Dennis would have to say. That's what Dennis from Amber Palace Games has to say. Cool. Well, yeah, we wanted to thank you once again. We don't want to keep you all night, but we wanted to thank you for coming on Getting Geeky with Game Relief. We really appreciate taking the time out of your day, Dennis.
I appreciate it too. Thanks a lot.
No problem. You have a good one.
You too. Take care.
Welcome to Getting Geeky with Game Relief. Today is Kickstarter Corner. Welcome to Kickstarter Corner with Getting Geeky with Game Relief, where one man strives to level up his geekhood.
One battle at a time.
Today we'll be talking about one game, I think. This one. It's called...
It actually is Space Corridor Battle Terrain, bringing you an all-plastic space corridor terrain set, ideal for a vast range of sci-fi 28mm war games. Check them out on the Kickstarter. It looks like, you're building walls and making the sky terrain like you're in a ship. Pretty much you can build a ship out of this, is from what it looks like. So check them out on the Kickstarters. And then let's see what else we have. Princess Leaf, what else do we got?
We have Road/Kill
Vendetta,
the tabletop game where horsepower meets firepower, with rules and models for new factions, warlords, vehicles, and support units.
So yeah, you're actually a car. Well, it looks like they got tanks and they got other kind of cars where you're actually killing each other. Reminds me a lot of Mark McKinnon's Wreck and Ruin. Check that out. Check them both out on the Kickstarter. We'll make sure we leave links here on
the show notes.
In the show notes. And then next we have Adventures in Zombiewood. They just barely funded recently.
A fast-paced, cooperate homage to the zombie genre. Finish your movie, fight the horror, and survive to see your film's rate.
How your film rates, your rating. Yeah, like I said, they did barely funded. So go ahead and make sure you jump on the Kickstarter to back this. They have 20 days to go. So they end the 11th of November. Check them out on the Kickstarters and get a great zombie flick movie game. So that's really cool. Then what else do we have, Princess Leaf?
And the game will be cool for Halloween.
Yeah, it's a Halloween themed game with zombies and all. So that's cool.
The next game is called Record, a guitar-themed strategy game for 2 to 4 players. Become a tabletop guitar hero.
Apologies to Princess Leaf, as I thought she was talking quieter or whatnot, but actually our microphone is a little down, so hopefully we'll be able to get that taken care of. So apologize if the sound goes out or anything, but I went back and had to delete some stuff that didn't come through. But a couple of the Kickstarters that we missed was Angelblood RPG, Let's see here, just to tell you a little bit about it. Angelblood Publishing presents the tabletop RPG game we all want. After 13 long years, Angelblood, the tabletop RPG, is ready to be unleashed on the masses. It's time for everyone to be a game changer. Check them out on the Kickstarters. Hopefully they'll fund. They're about halfway to their goal, ending pretty shortly. And then we've got another one. I really love this one. Yeah, I'll let them tell you what it is instead of me. Why do the work when somebody else can do it, don't you think? Well, maybe not. But check this one out. Let's see what I have to hear for what you can hear about.
Space fighter, fighting in space.
Gotta love that. Gotta love it. Or at least I do. I love it. Space fighter, fighting in space. I in no way do justice to it. But let's do it one more time for kicks and giggles because I love it.
Space fighter, fighting in space.
Probably better tell you about the game, don't you think? Yeah, I better tell you about the game. So really quickly, Space Fighter Fighting in Space is a space fighter, is a two-player space-themed tabletop strategy game. It takes about 30 minutes. You can do space fighting in space on the tabletop. Check them out on the Kickstarters, and I really hope they fund. I love the sound of that, and yeah, that's awesome. Alright, so we'll hurry and finish so she can get off to bed. What else do we got?
We have Forager, the card game. Become the greatest outlaw that ever lived with this awesomely Western card game by collecting
Notoriety.
and bounty. Yeehaw!
And it's even more yeehaw. Look what happened, Princess Leaf. They funded their goal. They have 3 days to go, and they got 3,240 out of what?
Out of $3,000.
Yep, so they funded, and we played this game. If you want to hear our thoughts, go back and listen to the podcast. We'll have to play it again. But congratulations, Joshua, on funding. We're so excited for you.
If you get a special set, make sure you put on, like, plungers on your nose, or they'll clip on things, because the wrapping paper smells a little weird.
Oh, yeah, we got a prototype, so that's what she's talking about. But it shouldn't be an issue with the actual game that you get. So go ahead and hurry and back that so you can be part of the fun and become the evilest outlaw, or I guess the greatest, well, I would say, the outiest outlaw in the Old West. So check this out.
Yeehaw!
Yeehaw. And let's see here. We can do one more thing. Well, I guess Princess Leaf usually likes to do 2 things. So we'll do that. Let's see here what we got, Princess Leaf. Bear with me a moment, if you would. Let's see. Princess Leaf likes to go to one place. She likes to know who our patrons are, so give it so we can thank them. I'm not as well at that as she is, but let's go ahead and tell you so Princess Leaf can thank them.
Oxen,
We have Oinks,
Axel Sadio, Ethan Ireland, Jennifer Longworth, Ronald Gagan, and then Dave at everythingboardgames.com. Now it's time for your favorite place.
But next we wanted to wish a happy birthday to somebody I served a mission for my church with, Carrie Ann Rom Rhodes, out in Ohio. We wanted to wish you a happy birthday, as your birthday is coming up in 3 days from the time of this recording, or on Tuesday the 24th of October. And also Phil Schott. He's a year behind me, but he just recently did Cheese Quest, a game about trying to get cheese to the, what do you call it? Happy birthday to you too, Phil. Should we sing to him?
Happy birthday,
Birthday to Phil and Carrie Ann. Happy birthday to Phil and Carrie Ann. Happy birthday,
Carrie
and Phil. Happy birthday to y'all, and many more on Channel 4.
Yeah, I don't know why he went to Channel 4, but we're vlogging out.
Yeah, peace out, and remember to check out Casual Game Revolution. Y'all have a good one now.
It also was Dad's birthday a while ago.
Well, don't worry about
So
that.
wish him a happy birthday on his Facebook account.
And yeah, the contest is over now. So if you didn't get a chance to enter, we'll let you know about the next contest. But look for next week, or hopefully before then, our challenge of look for this episode of Monday's role-playing game to be named. Thank you. Have a great day.
Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, and if we get 1 million subscribers, we'll do a YouTube video of us buying food.
Oh, that sounds fun.
If you pay us money.
Okay, well, thanks. Have a good day, Princess Leaf.
And we'll give you some food that we buy.
Okay, well, pay no attention to the little girl behind the screen. Have a great day.
Gamer Leaf levels up. Tune in next week to see if Gamer Leaf's luck holds up.